Taking control of the car buying experience. Demand the most for your money. Here's the Car Buyer Advisor.
And I'm going to start by introducing our guest. Our first guest here today just really is one of the reasons this whole segment exists. She wanted to have an impact on the community, and our business is committed to that through their blogging efforts as well. Please welcome back to the show, Michelle Anderson with Nevada Mobil Automotive Service. Welcome back, Michelle.
Thank you for having me, Mitch.
Tell us a little bit about Nevada Mobil Automotive Service for those that may not have heard you on a previous show.
Okay, well, Nevada Mobil Automotive Service, mobile being the operative word, we come to people's homes, offices, or wherever you're at and service any needs you have. We can service anything from an oil change to something more technical like brakes right out in the field. We have several trucks that service the Reno, Sparks, Washoe County area. We even go Fernley, Fallon, and down to Carson City. And we have a local shop here as well to do the more major stuff like engine repair and transmission replacement. Well,
you mentioned that you go out to Fallon and Fernley, but I understand for the people at Burning Man, if they have a failure, you'll go that far.
We do go to Burning Man, yes.
And also on our show today is one of the finest businesses in our community, really a national reputation for quality and a real business model for success and longevity that should be followed by other businesses in our community. Please welcome back to our show, owner of DriveLine Gear Service here in Reno, Tom Haltman. Tom, welcome back.
Good morning, Mitch.
Tell us a little bit about DriveLine Gear Service.
DriveLine Service has been around since 1971. We switched over to DriveLine and Gear Service in 1986. We specialize mainly in the drivetrain portion of the vehicle.
And you have two locations now?
Yes, we have our main location is Glendale Avenue, 1325, and we have a Fallon store out on the Reno Highway just east of the Scheckler turnoff.
And also out there service the agricultural industry, which is prevalent out in that area.
Yes, everybody in Fallon has at least two tractors.
And back to our show as well, a business that really is revolutionizing the automotive dealership segment. I mean, they've really taken on reforming the industry, but how they're doing it is starting with themselves and coming up with a new strategy for success. Please welcome back George Green, Operations Manager at Wild West Chevrolet.
Thanks, Mitch. Great to be back.
Tell us a little bit about Wild West Chevrolet's philosophy about selling automobiles.
Well, simply we've pulled our community and we've asked them what's the biggest hang-up when it is to buying a vehicle, and most people talk about price. So we've pretty much taken price out of the equation. On any new Chevrolet, we'll sell at a GM preferred price, which is clearly marked on the invoice. It's already a deep discounted price, Mitch, and it's usually reserved for GM employees or vendors of General Motors. So taking that out of the equation, it's really helped us to grow our business, and it's been terrific, actually.
What you've taken out of the equation is the typical car dealership games, the back and forth negotiations, hang you by the ankle until your every penny falls out of your pocket.
Well, of course, but it's pretty intimidating going on a car lot. I mean, we do this every day for a living, and the consumer is definitely at a disadvantage. I know there's books out there, there's tapes out there on how to buy a car. Don't tell them about the trade, don't buy the undercoat. You've heard all the things, but by being upfront and hassle-free, it's really made a difference in what the consumer, and actually the way they walk onto our lot. They come on the lot with confidence, knowing that they already know what the price is because we publish it on the internet. So it really is a hassle-free experience.
Transparency in an automotive dealership, unprecedented, probably on a national level. We're really proud to have you be our representation for that segment. So today's show is a call-in segment. Again, that number is 775-823-1920. Please feel free to jump in and ask any of these businesses a question. I'm also the car buyer advisor, but I'm also the general manager at Sporthouse Motor Cars out on South Meadows. And Sporthouse is a legendary, respected, exclusive business that's been in Northern Nevada for now about 31 years. At Sporthouse, we have a very similar mentality to you, George. It's do the right things, be fair. We don't play the back and forth hassles. We're an arm's length transaction, but the primary thing that we focus on is if we can't sell the best car, we'd rather not sell it at all. So we're really focused on quality pre-owned used vehicles, and we can document that and show that to consumers when they come in, and then take the games out of the process and fair pricing strategies. And we have world-class service there as well for our community. So again, the phone number is 775-823-1920. And the topic we wanted to take on today, I think a lot of our listeners are going to immediately embrace, is the topic of, do women get treated differently when they go to buy a car or when they go out to obtain service for an automobile? And Michelle, I'll let you start us off with this because you've had personal experience.
I have. And actually, being a woman in the automotive field, a lot of times when I go to some place that I don't deal with on a regular basis, they don't know that. And I have been treated different. I've gone into shops where they're honest. And I've also gone into shops and parts houses where they're not. And just because I'm a girl, they think they can give me a line or they jack up the price.
Well, and you've had personal experience with this. Just before the show, I was kind of just taken by the fact that you've actually tested this theory by calling a business and getting a price yourself and having somebody else in your business, male counterpart, call and get a different price.
That's correct. And usually it's myself and my husband that'll call, or myself and one of the other guys in the shop. But I'll call somewhere that we don't normally deal with, and they'll give me one price, and I'll have one of the guys call and not let them know that they're with the same company, and they will get a completely different price, usually lower by 15%.
Well, and so we're really going to take this on because there are businesses in our community that absolutely will not have anything to do with those practices and would immediately terminate staff if they partaked in anything like that. But George, you actually take that to a whole new level. It doesn't matter color, race, age, sex, anything at Wild West Chevrolet.
Everybody pays the same price, no matter who you are. So it really is distinctive where people, I think they appreciate it because it does give you a sense of confidence when you do come in, knowing that nobody's going to pay more than you or
less.
Pay less. Right. Exactly. So, I think it's an important step or part of the process of buying a car is that to have that upfront pricing. It makes a difference, Mitch.
Well, and Tom at DriveLine Gear, I mean, your words were exactly where we love women at our business. Yeah,
women add a different aura to a male-dominated shop. I would say 90% of the vehicle hot rodders, four-wheel drivers, hunters, construction workers, 90% of them are male. And when a gal comes in the shop, it's refreshing and it smells better.
Well, but when it comes to pricing, one of the things, Tom, is at your shop, they don't pay any more.
No, absolutely not. We really, truly treat women and not just women. I say women because a lot of women don't know the automotive industry, but there's a lot of guys that don't know the automotive industry, and we really pride ourselves on trying to educate those type of people. And I want them to make them feel good. I want them to make them feel comfortable, and I want them to make them feel like they're getting a fair shake.
And that they can trust what you're saying. And this is where I think the whole conversation, I wanted to take this today, because, at Sport House, we have a very similar mentality, is it doesn't matter who you are. We want you, your friends, and your family for life as part of our group of business. And we treat everybody exactly the same way. And the ultimate part of that is, we take the time with, as you said, they're both male and female counterparts that, simply don't, that maybe it's just not their passion in life, that we can help guide them and educate them and help them. But we do that equally, and there isn't any charging more or less for anybody. Tom with DriveLine had something to add to that.
Just yesterday, I had a gal from the lake. She had a Volkswagen Touareg. They have a real odd drive shaft. They have some center bearing problems on the drive shaft. The dealership's pricing is extremely high, and we have figured out a way to fix it. And she quizzed me and quizzed me and quizzed me over the phone before she would commit. She says, this cannot be correct because you guys are less than half of what the dealer quoted me. I says, well, she says, well, we'll see. I'll bring in my car and we'll see. And she came in and she was armed for bear. She just knew that there was a catch. And when we got the vehicle done, she waited in our little lobby and she was very, very impressed, and she thanked us profusely for being honest.
Well, you see, there it is, the honesty. What is that? What I don't understand, I've never understood this, and it's really the reason a show like this was so necessary for our community. As a manager of many successful multi-million-dollar businesses over 3 decades in these industries, I've just found that honesty and integrity and core values, and you treat people right and you build a base of business and grow regardless of what the economy is doing or other businesses around you are doing, and that there are businesses that think that if they just squeeze blood from a turnip that they're going to be more profitable, and nothing could be farther from the truth. Michelle's shaking her head about that one.
Well, Tom shared an experience, and we actually had one that was somewhat similar. It was actually a warranty issue that we had a customer call in about yesterday. And the customer, we give a 12-month, 12,000-mile parts and labor warranty on all new parts that we install in your car and we supply. And this customer had a problem with his car. I was not able to locate the invoice and ask him if he had it. He said yes. And I told him, great, we'll come out, we'll take a look at it. Well, it's past your warranty it is by 5 days. And we're okay with taking care of that. It's 5 days and you've only gone 10,000 miles on your vehicle, not 20 or 30. So if we come out and that's the issue, we're going to fix it. That's the type of integrity that the shop has. And
that's what we want you to understand is there's a feeling, a synergy, I think is a good word for it. When you have a business with core values of integrity, you can feel it. And I want to talk about some of the telltale signs that would be, red flag warnings of situations where you were going to want to, as a consumer, halt in your tracks and get a second opinion. And Michelle, we had a conversation about this before the show. One of the things as a consumer you can do to tell if you're being sold a bill of goods or really being recommended something of value, because not every upsell is an upsell without a cause. But the question is as a consumer, where do you know when it transfers into just profit centers from your needs as a consumer? And there are some ways of, as a consumer, having a defense to that.
Mm-hmm. And at our shop, what we do is we like to be transparent and we also educate the customer. So if our guys find something that's going on with your car, say an oil pan gasket leak or a seeping valve cover gasket, they're going to take a picture of that. They're going to bring you, the customer, out and they're going to say, we did an inspection. This is what we found. This is the underneath of your car. Here is a picture of the leak and you can see that it's pretty bad. Or they'll show you that seep and really educate you on it's a seep. Seeps will turn into a leak. This is something that you need to plan to fix and keep an eye on, and let us show you what you're looking for. What you want to be cautious about is the shop that you take your car in for brakes and all of a sudden you need complete suspension repair and they don't want to show you anything. They're not really educating you, and it's a huge cost.
Well, and we've had this conversation before, is then you're also being told, well, you're in there, we need to do calipers on all 4 wheels, even though you're on a front brake job. They're trying to sell you 4 calipers, and calipers can be serviced by quality businesses. They don't always have to be replaced. I mean, these are some of the things we've talked about before on our show. But one of the things I mentioned before, George, at Wild West Chevrolet is, yes, you guys make it really simple with a one-price strategy, but then, it really shifts the paradigm for how your staff is from day to day with everybody, because you walk in and it feels different.
It does. And what's really interesting about our place is that these people have the ability to make the decision to keep that customer enthused about doing business with us. So no matter if you're the receptionist or one of the salespeople or the lot guy, everybody in our business has the ability to take care of the customer. So, and the old 15-foot rule, they're going to acknowledge the customers there. They're going to be polite. They're going to be professional. It sure doesn't cost a lot of money to have a smile on your face, and it sure doesn't cost a lot of money to have great manners. And I can tell you, our store has great manners. So it's very important to me that the customer feels comfortable, and they're spending a lot of money. Over their lifetime, they're going to spend $500,000 on their transportation needs. And whether it's Michelle or Tom or me, in the process of keeping that customer's vehicle on the road and keeping them happy and keeping them safe, we're going to do our best to do that. And I think that's essential to any great business, is that the consumer, obviously, they're not always right, but you know what? They're always our customer, and we're always going to reach out to them and do whatever we can to keep them happy. So,
one of the things that I like is you said that you empower your staff to take care of your consumers, your guest, and nothing will convince somebody more of that than picking up the phone, calling Wild West Chevrolet, and asking somebody over the phone for a price, because you have a real commitment to that strategy of how long it'll take them to get that price. So I challenge anybody that's in the market for a new General Motors product or anything that Chevrolet also has a counterpart to try this. Have the two different people, one male, one female, call and find out. You're going to get the exact same price, but you're also going to get it in the exact same time frame, which is your commitment is to deliver that in how long?
60 seconds.
And so, this sounds almost unbelievable, but only way you can deliver that to a community, and you have been delivering that to our community for a couple of years now, is to empower people to be able to give those prices so they don't have to go ask somebody for that price. Your salespeople have the invoice book and can quote that price by just turning to that page in the book.
That's correct.
So, that is really, you start to see these things, folks. As a consumer, when you walk into a business, we want your eyes open and your ears on. And if something smells fishy, that you then start to really become a little bit more detail oriented. Take the time to investigate. I think that if I asked Katie, our service consultant at Sport Haus, if she'd ever charge a female, or any more or any less than a guy, she'd strangle me for even asking that, because at our store, what's really interesting is that she is just an industry worth of knowledge, and knows so much about cars that she does a very good job of communicating with the most technical male, and then also very good with men and women and technical women that just need a little guidance and really want transparency. And that's the way that Sport Haus practices it, Michelle, is the same way that you said. If there's something needs to be done, come on out with us. Let us show it to you. If a shop isn't going to take the time to show it to you, there's potential. Not 100% of the time, but there's a potential they're trying to hide something. Because a lot of the stuff, if you're shown it, you can see it. And seeing is believing. And we're the same way. Come out, let us show you what is wrong with your car and why we're making this recommendation. And transparency is one of the first things that tells you if you're dealing with a shop with integrity. Tom, you're over there at DriveLine Gear, and you have you're in a niche. You specialize in specific parts of the car. And it is the same routine, the same machine every day, regardless of who walks through your door, too.
Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about that. I've done this for 34 years, and there isn't much I haven't seen as far as the drivetrain goes. But the customer education never stops. Even it's the same as it is today as it was 30 years ago. When a person comes in, he or she has no idea on the quality of the parts, on what could be happening, what's happened to their vehicle. And education is the key. And you have to anyone can sell parts. You can buy parts on the internet. You can buy parts in the superstores. You can buy them. You can have backyard mechanics do your work. But the only thing that a good shop now has to sell is their honesty and their integrity and their knowledge. And after 34 years, and I think our shop has got 160 years or accumulative knowledge, people that work there, we know what's going on. And the consumer needs to find a shop that they can trust. And I don't care what shop it is. They need to be able to trust that shop. You cannot roll the dice now. In the old days, a transmission, one shop would tell you $3,000 and a fly-by-night shop would tell you $600. Well, the customer should know that $600 transmission is is a roll of the dice, and it's snake eyes most of the time.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's another one of the core reasons why this show exists in our community. And I will not slander or mention the name of any poor business in our community, because what we don't want our community to have is, at the end of the day, next week, to not remember which was the good and which was the bad business. But there's a transmission shop in Northern Nevada that's been closed by the DMV 4 different times, 5 times now. Tom was just, and in the industry, our community of businesses know who I'm talking about, and they keep reopening up under another name, under another family member's name, and they continue to do it to our community. And so, yeah, this happens, but how does the consumer know it? Price is sometimes misleading, and you're using inferior parts, and then you're getting what you pay for. That old buyer beware really rings a bell here. But I want you to stick with that thought for us for a moment, and we're going to be going to a brief break. But I want you to, if you've had an experience that's gone awry and or had a similar experience to the stuff we're talking about, feel free to call us and talk about it. We're going to ask you to talk about what happened and not the name of the business, again, for the reason that we don't want our community a week from now to confuse the really quality businesses that we're endorsing here. We don't give the breath of life to the name of poor businesses. If you as a consumer treat them that way, you don't say their names, you don't support them with your money, they'll cease to exist. That's our formula for reforming this industry. So if you've had a bad situation and you want to talk about it, something similar to this, feel free to give us a call after the break. We're going to give you that number again, 775-823-1920. Don't go away. We're going to be right back with more on this conversation after we return. And thanks for staying with us through that brief break. Once again, if you want to get in on this show and give us a call, we're broadcasting live from Northern Nevada. We're taking your calls, and today's subjects would be, the being treated fairly, male, female, really doesn't make a difference. It's just, the experience of being tried to be sold things that you didn't need, or being overcharged because of your gender. That's the subject we're taking on today for our community's knowledge. The phone number again, 775-823-1920, 823-1920. Michelle with Nevada Mobil has something to bring back up.
Well, just before the break, we talked about a particular transmission shop in town. And I do want to say that I have had personal dealings with this shop as well. Just some tips for our buyers. If you are going into a shop, you're getting quotes for your transmission or any other repair, and this quote comes out at $1,000 less than what everybody else is quoting you, or $600 less, that should be something that says it's probably not right. The other thing that I had happen was when we went in there, we went to buy a transmission, and what was said to me was cards and checks are not acceptable, cash only. If a shop asks for cash only, that is a definite red flag. Turn around and walk out the door.
Well, and that's a really good comment there, because at least with today's credit cards, when we pay by credit cards, we do have a products, goods, and services warranty for 60 days on most of your credit cards. So, being able to have some recourse on the business for improper services or not living up to their commitments, a good thing. And, I want to be careful, because sometimes there are savings to be made, because a shop with quality staff can make a diagnosis quicker, or they have, a lower labor rate, or for an example, like Tom with DriveLine Gear had, they wanted to sell a whole unit when that unit could have been repaired by a business that had the technology to repair it. There are things like that, like some shops just replace drive lines. But most of the businesses, I want to say 90% probably of the businesses in Northern Nevada also always bring their drive lines to you to service as well. Before I have you respond to that, we do have a call. And Ashley, welcome to the Car Buyer Advisor.
Thank you. I really like your show.
Thank you.
Pardon me. Allergy season again. I've had multiple experiences where I go in for something rather minor, and I have this layered. I come out with a layered bill of all sorts of things. I couldn't possibly have needed all of the things, that I was told I needed and charged for, and yet I have no way of coming back at these businesses except not dealing with them anymore.
And that's what this show is asking you to do. One of the things, if you get a layered bill like that or quotes on things, your first perception is probably correct. You're being sold some things in there just for the sake of building a ticket. And you got to look at the reason why that exists in many of these industry businesses, actually, is that the people that write those tickets are usually many times commissioned salespeople. And most consumers don't realize that. They think they're just, hourly or salaried people there to help them, but they get paid a commission in most of the shops for selling services. So, and a lot of these businesses, and it's really prevalent in a lot of franchise dealerships as well, they have sales spiffs for service writers, service advisors, or service salespeople, as I'd like to refer to them. And they'll try to sell everybody in that drive a coolant change. Well, this time of the year, maybe you're thinking, well, maybe my car does need it. But when 85% of the cars come through need it, and that they give them a bonus if they sell it to 85% of those cars that week, they get a bonus on their paycheck for it. I'm pretty certain that many of those cars, had you done a pH test and a coolant strip test, would have been at the right temperature and the right alkalinity and didn't need that flush. So as a consumer, when you go in for an oil change and you're given a $3,000 laundry list, and you're right, most of the time your car doesn't fail all at once. Something happens and then something else happens. Red flag. And Tom with DriveLine Gear wants to add something to that.
Ashley, probably the best thing to do on that situation, because a lot of consumers don't know, is ask for a written sheet on what's wrong and get a second opinion, because a lot of times, some of that sheet needs to be done, but there's a lot of stuff that can be maybe expanded. I don't know what the right word is, embellished on, but some of the stuff could be done. But a second opinion is just like a doctor. It can't hurt at all.
Well, and I like the fact that you said get a written estimate, because then you can go to another shop and say, well, they told me I need this, this, and this, but it doesn't really include the parts that they're trying to replace and things like that. And the second opinion is going to take each one of those, look at that specific component, and then make an analysis. Do you really need that part, or is this an upsell? And Michelle with Nevada Mobil had something to add too.
Well, again, in our shop, what we do is if something like that is needed, obviously, if it's a squeak or something like that, you can't take a picture of a squeak. But if it's something like an oil leak, the shocks are leaking, or, the seals are cracked, you're going to get a picture of the underneath of your car. And if you want to see it, we're happy to put it on the lift and show it to you. Well,
and that's a really big thing, Ashley, is to say just simply, wow, can you show me all of these things? And watch the jaw drop, because that initial reaction is, show me if there are things there that really are, not visible or things that they can't prove to you as a consumer with your own eyes. It should be one of those red flags. You're right. When you walk in and you go in for an oil change, now I want to make sure that we don't make blanket statements here on this show, because good quality businesses, while they're doing your service, also perform an inspection, because they would rather tell you about something that's coming up before it's a catastrophic failure and potentially save you money. And a really good quality business takes that approach. They also don't want to have the liability of putting you back in a car when they could have saved you that breakdown of having a customer who just serviced something break down on something totally unrelated that they worked on. So good shops will do an inspection and let you know if there's something that needs your attention. So it's not a blanket statement. But when you do get that, then as the consumer, what is your obligation is to verify it, to physically see it. If you're not still absolutely convinced, like a leak you can see, well, then you get to make a decision. Do I do that right now? Can I do it next service? Do I do it, or I'm going to be selling this car anyway. I don't want to bother with it. That you have that option as a consumer. You have that power of choice back. But asking to see it, getting a written estimate, getting a second opinion, great suggestion, Tom. Michelle?
One other thing that our shop does is we do a health inspection on every car we go out to, whether it's a diagnostic for a no start or something like an oil change. You're getting a health inspection on your car, and the technician is going to let you know what the immediate problem is and what the health inspection has found. And the other thing our shop does is we send you a copy of that health inspection, a copy of the estimate, and a copy of any pictures taken.
Yeah, so you start to see that when there are businesses with integrity, Ashley, that have some recommendations. Even their beginning approach is, we want to show you, we want you to understand. We found this while we were there, and here's your estimate, and let us know what you want to do. It's not it's rarely, Michelle, a laundry list of 15, 20 things.
The only time we've ever found that is usually a customer who has a car and they really don't do the regular maintenance. They don't take it in for the proper oil changes, or they've been told of a leak that they just don't want to fix.
And so most of the time, if you take your car in, you might find one or two things, but a properly serviced car, you almost never see a laundry list of things on.
No, and I have an older car. My car's a 99 Mountaineer. It's got 300,000 miles on it. I have done regular maintenance and oil changes on it since the day I bought it, and my alternator lasted to 250,000 miles before it went out. I don't have anything that is a laundry list like that ever.
Well, and Ashley, at Sport Haus, we have really, the whole Sport Haus started as a service facility and became world class in service to highline, luxury, exotic cars, and now we work on even everyday transportation. But that foundation of just integrity and treating people right is what's made Sport Haus a international phenomenon. George, at Wild West Chevrolet, you're really blessed. You have one of the finest service departments in the automotive dealership segment. And one of the questions that was brought up before during the break was, people come out to Yerington to buy a car from you. And what about servicing that car that they saved thousands of dollars buying from you?
Well, obviously, we'd love to see them back in our shop to get all their maintenance and service is done. So it's really important to note that it's not the most convenient place to do business. We're 80 miles away from downtown Reno, but the vehicles that we do sell, and we still get people that come back and forth. But if you buy a brand new vehicle that has a GM warranty, you can go to any GM dealership, Chevrolet dealership, and get your maintenance or your warranty repairs done there.
Well, and I have an opinion about this because there are some businesses across the nation and that would say, well, you didn't buy it from us, so you're at the back of the line. And if you ever hear something like that happening, then you really have done the right thing by not supporting them in the first place. And you don't even want to support them with warranty repairs because they get to make profit from those too.
Sure.
But you also mentioned, that you have pickup and drop off available as well.
We do pick up and deliver for service. Yes.
So, whether
you're in Sparks or Fernley or what have you, we have drivers that go all over the northern Nevada to keep our customers happy.
Beyond standard for the automotive industry, you're after the customer service side of it. Tom, with DriveLine, anything to add to Ashley's concerns about, the laundry list?
Well, again, I think it is all based on trust. And once you get a automotive repair shop that you trust, and even if our shop doesn't work on motors, but we have a network of shops that we trust that we can sub it out to if you would. But trust, I think, is the biggest issue. Once you trust a shop, you don't have to question them. You don't have to, go down and look at it and get your hands greasy. You trust them, and that's what it's all about, is trust.
Well, and that's what these businesses on our show today here are about, is when you have core values of integrity and you're doing the right thing every day of the week, you build that relationship with people, but you never take advantage of it. And I'm really, really proud of the community of businesses in Northern Nevada that we have. I mean, I said at the beginning of the show, Northern Nevada is an automotive community. We have a Hot August Night starting this weekend in town, and because of that, the number of automotive-related businesses that we have in Northern Nevada, unprecedented. And it is also that model that allows for the riffraff, that gives the quantity of business to our community, that allows for the substandard and mediocre performance of many of the businesses in these industries. But we are also then equally blessed with some extraordinary businesses that this show is honored to support. Hot August Nights, Tom, you help a lot of those folks that are bringing their classic cars in from out of town this time of the year.
Yeah, Hot August Nights is probably one of the funnest times of the year. It's probably one of the most stressful times of the year for an automotive shop, because there not only is there 5,000 registered cars, there's 7,000 unregistered cars and all the support vehicles. So there is a lot of extra vehicles in our town in the hottest part of summer. Most of those old cars look beautiful on the outside, and most of them are, I won't say that. Some of them are rust buckets underneath. They come out of their garage, one week out of the year. They come to our nice hot, dry weather, and we have a lot of failures. And the only thing I ask the community, whether it's your support vehicle or your 67 Chevy or whatever you're driving, you got to be patient with the automotive industry, because we are very, very busy this time of year, and we're trying our best, and we're trying to have fun too. But a lot of times our shop looks like a show and shine. People waiting in the parking lot to get their car fixed up.
Well, and I love the fact that at your shop, your turnaround time, you're saying, but compared to industry standards, Tom, I'm smiling right now. Your turnaround time makes everybody else look weak. The average shaft comes into your shop and gets pulled out, remanufactured, put back together and balanced and back in a truck in less than a day, in hours.
Yeah, we have a crew that's all we do, and I think we've kind of spoiled the area, and we've created some headaches for ourselves too. But we really shine on getting it in and out.
Yeah, so even this time of the year, you're talking about some delays, but to people from other regions of our country, you're still going to be hair-splitting times for them. They're going to be impressed with that. Michelle, you have an added bonus this time of the year because you're mobile.
That's correct. And
for those unregistered cars that Tom was talking about.
That's right. And even some of the registered cars. I know Hot August Nights, a lot of the auctions, if the car is not running, they will not move it. And we get a lot of calls for that, where we've come out to the auctions to help get those cars running so they can be sold. And again, we are a fully functional shop on wheels. So if you do get stuck on the side of the road, feel free to give us a call, and we will send someone out to take care of it and get you back on the road as soon as possible. I
think that's really important to note, that you're a shop on wheels. This is not a pickup truck with a toolbox on the back of it and a handyman trying to fix your car. This is a fully licensed, reputable shop with a stationary shop with a handful of cube van trucks heavily equipped with the machinery necessary to do field work, and trained technicians.
That's correct. All of our technicians are ASE certified. And like I said, it's fully functional shop on wheels, including a brake lathe right on the truck, generator, welder, whatever is needed.
So you have different trucks for different needs, and each truck is then equipped with a technician that services and specializes in those needs. This is a full-blown mobile shop on wheels to meet your Hot August Night needs. And George, out at Wild West Chevrolet, you have Chevrolet's probably one of the most common cars you're going to see at Hot August Nights.
Oh, there's some classics out there, and we're really excited when these vehicles come into town. So, yeah, we see a few of the cars out there. It's kind of fun.
And for those of you that had a question, feel free to hop in here. Our phone number again is 775-823-1920. Ashley, I don't know if you're still there, but I think that you really bring up a good question on the repair building conversation. So I really want to take a little bit more time on that subject and really get into the consumer and what Tom said, finding a shop that has core values and integrity. One of the things you said, Tom, that I really didn't want to miss on, and I don't know if anybody else caught this when you said it, was, I don't care who that is, find a shop you can trust. That is really a generous statement for you to make. There are other good businesses, and then it's not like, hey, we're just screaming here, we're the only choice you have. But that right there says ethics. It says, integrity about who you are. We act this way. If you've got another one that acts this way, good for you. But if you don't, here we are. And that's really an interesting approach. I wonder how many people caught that, but it really impressed me, that philosophy of, we're not the only choice, but make a good choice.
Well, Mitch, nobody can do it all. You'd have to have, there are hundreds of automotive shops in the Reno area, in dealerships, Mobils, truck shops, specialty shops. There's hundreds, probably thousands. If you look in the automotive yellow book, one shop cannot do it all. And there's truly some good people out there and some good shops out there.
Well, and we're gifted with the Car Buyer Advisor to have them here today. I want to take a minute before we run out of time and give each of you an opportunity to address our community on your business, what services you offer, where you're located, how they can get a hold of you. And let's start with Michelle with Nevada Mobil Automotive.
Well, again, I'm Michelle with Nevada Mobil Automotive Service. We do mobile automotive and repair, mobile being the operative word. We will come to you, your home, your office, your place of business, whatever you need. You can reach us at 775-200-4669. We are located at 2540 Sutro Street in Reno, and our website is www.nvmobileautoservice.com.
And Michelle, one of the things that I mentioned at the beginning of the show is your commitment to the community in education, and that's really what this show is about. But as a consumer, if you're being educated on your repairs, you have a better opportunity of making a choice. You also have a blog where you educate the community as well.
We do have a blog. Again, our blog is located on our website. It's under Car Repair Blog. And again, that website address is www.nvmobileautoservice.com.
And then, Tom, with DriveLine, you have a couple of locations, and again, a little bit about the history and the different things that they can bring to you now that they know about you.
Well, it's DriveLine Gear Service, 1325 Glendale and 5305 Reno Highway out in Fallon. We do have a website. It's the www.drivelineandgear.com.
And your phone number for the Reno and Fallon
Reno
stores?
store is 331-4500. Fallon store is 867-2617. We do anything drivetrain related. We specialize in drive lines. We do boats and hot rods and trucks and a lot of four-wheel drive shafts. We do a lot of gear work, gear changes, positractions, driveline disconnects for towing. We do a lot of transfer case work, the all-time four-wheel drives, anything drivetrain related. And we are a wealth of knowledge. If you need something answered, if you have a question, or if you need some help, give us a call. I don't mind at all trying to help people.
And then George Green with Wild West Chevrolet, a little bit about the history of Wild West Chevrolet as well, because I love the story about even the name of Wild West Chevrolet, where it was derived from.
Well, Don and Tony Lindbergh, the owners, they really value the old Western hospitality, and that's really why the Wild West was named. We've had great success. They've been there since 2008. And we've continuously grown that business. And actually, Mitch, I have some good news. Last month, we hit 250% of General Motors' objective for us. So business has been really good, and we really appreciate the people that are coming out and giving us the opportunity to earn their business. And it's been just a terrific run. But Don and Tony, just their values are all about the platinum rule. I mean, they're going to treat customers the way they want to be treated. And I think that's really essential. And that's why we have grown so well. So,
well, I just can't imagine anybody buying a new General Motors product of any make without calling you and finding out the new experience that they can actually have in the new car dealership segment. I applaud you for it, and I ask our community to continue their support. I'm thrilled to hear that you're achieving the goals that General Motors provides you with. You deserve it. You're revolutionizing the industry, and we're calling on our community to continue to support that. It's worth the drive. It's not that far away.
Well, how far would you go to save hundreds or even thousands of dollars?
Well, more importantly, how far would you go to make a difference in the industry, to make your money count? And that's what we're asking our community to do on this show. How do they get a hold of you out there?
WildWestChevrolet.com, and it's 775-463-3456.
And then again, I'm representing Sporthouse Motor Cars, 31 years in the community. We have some classic cars for the hot August night people on display, 69 Chevy SS and a 71. And we just have a custom 74 Stingray Corvette. Come on down, take a look. We love it. Just look around, bring in your hot rods. We love to see those as well. That's at 9732 South Virginia Street, right up against the freeway as you exit South Meadows Parkway. Make like you're going into Winco, and on the left-hand side of that Winco, kind of behind it, is where you'll find the Sport House. We don't touch South Virginia. So right out South Meadows Marketplace in South Virginia. Don't forget to tune in next week at 10 a.m. To the Car Buyer Advisor here on 96.1 FM, 1270 AM CBS Sports Radio.